everybody. This is Sharonda, and this is my speaker studio podcast, Spiritual Sense, as well as my YouTube webinar, Spiritual Sense. In this podcast, as well as this webinar, I go over a variety of topics dealing with the paranormal. Um, I go over different belief systems in terms of the paranormal. I incorporate tarot card reading into this podcast as well. I also have other podcasts within my Spreaker studio that you may be interested in. Holistic Health being one of those podcasts where I go over a variety of alternative ways of you know, getting your mind, body, and spirit into balance. I also have talk radio where I condense a variety of different things regarding job feeds, educational programs, health and fitness information, business and finance information. And I go over a little numerology and astrology in that podcast as well. So that's Talk Radio, and then I have Health Matters, where I pull information off a variety of websites, and I read, off of the websites as to different chronic care conditions and concerns that you may be plagued with, or family members may be plagued with. Okay, so today is Spiritual Sense daily reading, and this is an open social, so a lot of people may not be too fond of tarot card reading, and that's totally fine. Okay, but I want this to be an open social for those who may be interested in um, tarot card reading. Okay, so I will proceed. I'd like to also say today is December the 17th, 2021, which is a Friday. And so I'm gonna say a prayer prior to me doing this tarot card reading. Father Supreme, being of all being, I don't know what this reading is on today, but I do ask that you give me infinite knowledge, wisdom, and capability as to what this reading is about. Okay. Now I want to do a reading, an update, because I did a reading. I want to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago about the new year, the 2022 year, and what are we to look forward to in the year, and what things that is to come. So I have cut my cards, and I shuffled the cards, and so I'm going to begin to spread the cards out now, and I'm going to pull the cards, and then I'm going to lay the cards. Okay, so we're going to say 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I'm just going to work with one deck today for time purposes. So it's just going to be one deck that I work with today for this daily reading. And I may do an additional podcast and or webinar later on in the day. Okay, so we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So again, I need information in regards to where we want to head and what we should be focusing on for the 2021 year that we're going into today. This year, 2021, has been a fast going year. So heading into 2022, where are we wanting to focus our attention on? Okay, so with card 1, which is on the situation or some insight, and this is what I'm praying about today for some particular insight. Sometimes when I do a reading, I could be pulled into another direction as to what I'm doing the reading about. So the Two of Swords, it says peace and harmony. You need to take the blindfold off, keep reassessing the situation at hand. So right now, um, we want peace and stability. Of course, we want to know. We all know that. Um, right now, I show that the barrier or the obstacle. We have Five of Wands, arguments, battles around you. Um, right now, I show that um peace is where we want to focus on. We want to focus on peace. We want to focus on harmony. We want to focus on the things that's going to enhance our prosperity, our life, our health, mind, body, and spirit. I showed the blockage or the barrier. We want to keep those battles at bay because I have Five of Wands, arguments, battles around you, which is in the obstacle card two position. Three, card three. So for card three, this is what's above. Money losses, all is not lost. If you look around, you may have something to salvage. So, this is what is above the situation. So if basically if you have to overlook those adversaries or things that may be coming your way to keep you off of your path and your journey. Part four, the root of the issue, I have listed here the Lovers card. So we have love affairs, romance, building again within marriage, relationships, relatives, loving relationships. You can share with a friend. So right now I do show that the need to keep families that, as I mentioned before, attacks on relationships and keeping keeping up a whole bunch of mess and chaos. We want to main focus, and in doing so, oftentimes we have to refrain from going certain places at certain times of the day. I said this before in a previous podcast and a previous reading, and I oftentimes find myself going back over some of the similar same things because this is the cycle of life. Of course, it may get mundane, but there will be some variances to a lot of the readings. Getting back to it, I do have the Lovers card as the root of the issue. Don't necessarily mean lovers in terms of like marriages or relationships, or marriages or intimate relationships. It could be very well like partnership type of relationships. But it lets me know to read it verbatim. So I feel as though this reading is applicable to relationships, like actual perhaps marriages. Sometimes it doesn't, that's not always the case, but somehow I feel like there is some need for peace and harmony. And as I, mentioned previously, you want to focus on your relationships right now because I do feel like there's an attack on the family unit as well as an attack on the relationships right now as well as marriages. So going into this 2022 plan year, once you begin to, and I'm not that big into astrology, I'll be honest about it, but I do believe in astrology. I believe in astrology. I believe in numerology as well. I'm not that big off into astrology. I have, delved into the stars and things of that nature, but I do believe in astrology. I'm just not that. I'll be honest about it. It hasn't been anything that I would say is a specialty or something that, but I do believe in it. I do believe it works. When you begin to study your zodiac signs and things like that, and numerology. Now, numerology, I honestly believe in numerology. I do. I know that works to the But when you begin to pay attention to things such as that, how the atmosphere works and how energy cycles, if you begin to pay attention, certain things cycle at a certain period of time. And this is why you would know how certain spirits come in, like a certain energy field or personality type would tend to cycle into the earth during certain times of the year. You may have your more feistier uh, persons or personalities that are born in the um, towards the middle of the year where it's hot and heat. You may have your more relaxed type of personalities or that are going towards the fall or towards the winter versus your more happier, upbeat type of energy filled people are going to be more or less towards the beginning of the year. And my two children are, such as that. They are energetic, they're full of energy, and they are both born towards the beginning part of the year. Me, myself, I am born towards the summer part of the year. Okay, so you will find if you sit back and pay attention to how life cycles, those certain personalities will come in during certain seasons, zodiac signs, birth months, as such. Okay. But my thing is, I'm not too big on the zodiac signs, but I do pay a lot of attention to cycles, like moon cycles, like personalities and certain groupings of spirits and how they begin to cycle at certain times. And you would begin to take note of that when you live long enough and you have experience being around enough people, you will begin to know, okay, that's what that is. Okay, so, but I do feel as though going into the 2022 playing year, there is some type of attack, of course, on relationships, meaning actual marriages and relationships. That's not a threat coming from me. This is just what the Cosmo has put out for me to convey. Because as I mentioned this before. This is not a threat to anybody. No, 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 no. This is not a personal attack or threat to anybody because I mentioned this before. And again, with the Lover's card, I have love affairs, romance building, again, within marriage, relationships, relatives, love and relationships you can share with your friend. So, that could go for marriages, but somehow I feel like it's mostly focused on marriages. Okay, and this is in the root of this is the issue, meaning this is not necessarily my issue, but this is what the issue the cosmos want me to convey in regards to for the 2022 playing year. Because what I began to do is I work with a couple of deities and orishas. Okay. And when you do that, ultimately it's still God. Tell you the truth, it's still God, regardless of God. And I began to ask for clarity, insight, and wisdom. And when I began to come in here and sit down and do my tarot card reading, then it begins to input something into my psyche. Okay, speak on what's to come for the 2022 playing year, and that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so I showed Knight of Cups, needing more confidence. I feel as though a lot of people are not feeling secure with the people that they are with. I've mentioned this over and over again in regards to relationships and marriages right now. Like a lot of people are feeling insecure. I don't know if this can, if you look at it on a different aspect of it, if it's somehow some type of domestic situation that is trying to reveal to me. So let's, because I do have the Five of Wands. Now let's proceed. We have Six of Wands, letter or news coming, victory news. That's in card six position. Part 7, we have Nine of Pentacles, peace of mind, contentment. So I feel as though right now there is an attack on relationships right now, and it could be very well to look out for those individuals who are in those type of professions where you have to engage a little more in terms of domestic violence and domestic disputes as such, because I feel as though this is what this reading is focusing me towards, and you may have an increase in that coming into the 2022 playing year year. Okay, so card 9, I have part 8, which is what is surrounding right now. Show Page of Swords, young woman to 25, spying or deception, reflecting back over your shoulder. Okay, so it lets me know, and just pulling that card there, take note of these younger populations in regards to domestic situations. Is what it lets me know. And just pulling this card right here, like some things can get overlooked because sometimes we're conditioned to what, only pay attention to a certain thing or a certain type of people. But from here, it looks like it's wanted to be known. Focus more or less on your younger population in regards to some disputes in relationships, and that could very well be teenage, young adult population in regards to some disputes. Okay, so I have card 9, hopes, fears, and dreams. Three of Cups, celebrations, bright happenings. So I feel as though a lot of them are not wanting it to get out. Like a lot of them are trying to prevent that exposure getting out. Is what I feel. And who do I mean when I say they? I'm speaking in terms of the ones that's doing the victimizing. A lot of them are afraid of that exposure being put out right now, in terms of being in domestic situations. As I read these cards, so as we come into the 2022 year, you want to make sure you are checking on these relationships of these young girls and young males. Okay, that's what it looks like. He's wanting it to be put out because a lot of people may not feel like domestic disputes and domestic violence occur amongst those individuals, and yes, they do. They do. The outcome. So I have the King of Pentacles. Business, arrogance, powerful. So I honestly feel as though there's a force that they have in place or will have in place, and it could not necessarily be one particular person or one particular entity that is looking to look towards recognizing the signs and the symptoms of that in your younger population. I'm talking about 14, 15 years old even, in regards to domestic violence and things like that. And I also believe that if you begin to pay attention to things such as that, oftentimes it is a telltale sign of what has transpired in the past of their older guardian or parents. You catch my drift when you begin to pay attention to the cycle of life. These are these spirits revisiting these children, and to make it apparent to those who are novice, like seeing it through a different eye, to understand this is a replay. And many times, they refrain things from them so they won't be able to know what exactly that is. But those spirits will show back up, and you would know that's what that is. You would know that's what that is. Oftentimes, that's why you have so much confusion that accompanies a lot of these individuals, because you know if you, as they mentioned, the saying that says monkey see monkey do, meaning if the monkey sees, the monkey does what it sees. But if you don't let them know and you put them in an environment where they can't say, oh, okay, well, this is coming out of memory, because what they're beginning to find out is this is the spirit of God, and it's going to what manifest and tell of a time and a space. Simple as that. And this is why you have a lot of confusion that comes into the midst of it, because people don't want you telling the truth. They don't want you to tell on what happened. They don't want you to tell on it. They don't want you to, put that information out of there, because, like, as I mentioned before, they'll say you're telling on dad, meaning you're telling on God, so to speak. So if you begin to sit back and study life and just look at it through a different aspect of it, God gonna tell you what it is. He's gonna show you what it is. Plain and simple. Okay. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Those who may be tuning in, this is Sharonda, and this is my Spiritual Sense podcast, as well as my YouTube studio webinar, Spiritual Sense. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment in the comment section. Until then, you have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.